This is Reah, and this is Just the Who of Us, where we talk about a range of topics including life events, current events, spirituality, entertainment, family relationships, as well as answering listener questions and more.
Did you have a baby?
No, my daughter is she's due September 8th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
God,
Yeah.
no.
No? Okay.
Absolutely not. I was actually happy that like my kids were growing up and,
Right.
getting out the house a little bit. And I was like, oh, guess not.
And we're starting over. Got it. Okay.
Right. I said to my husband, I was like, this is not my child, right? And
Right.
I am the grandparent. I take a step back and I'm just here to assist kind of thing. And, and we were at her checkup yesterday, and the nurse was like, she's like, oh, so you guys are having a baby. And my daughter was like, yeah, basically. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Like, wait, I think we need to clarify a few things.
I was like, oh,
Uh,
yes, guess we're having a baby.
oh,
But
well.
the funny thing is, like, I had my first child at 18, and I mean 14, and then I had her at 18.
Okay.
And my mom was literally like a second parent. And I think that's kind of like I I am like intentionally not doing that because it made it so easy for me to just go about life easier.
Right.
And
Yeah.
not that I want to make her life more difficult, obviously, but
Yeah.
I don't want this to be necessarily a desirable situation. So,
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
you know, so
Yeah. Yeah. There's some life lessons to be learned.
right, right.
Right.
And she really is like I think she's gonna be fine, she's really prepared. She's being really diligent about, things that she needs, her plans. I've mentioned, like preschools and things like that, just to kind of like, just kind of like
Yeah.
make it apparent of this like long-term thing. Like I know she knows a kid is a long-term thing, but just to kind of
Yes.
make sure we're thinking about the big picture and not,
Yeah.
oh, cute little baby and,
Yeah. And yeah, yeah, they're only a baby for a very short amount of time.
very, very much so. Yeah.
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 So,
Good times.
yeah. Oh man. We have a like a spare bedroom upstairs now because two of our kids have moved out.
Okay.
And at there one point I was kind of like, oh well, maybe she'll because her room is downstairs. Maybe she'll want to move up. And I was like, I kind of hope not because we'll hear the baby crying more. Is that selfish to say?
No. No.
Like, I enjoy my sleep.
Yeah. I, I
But
don't think I don't think that's selfish at all. I think that's very real.
luckily she was like, no, I think I'm just gonna stay where I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Whew.
Then you can have your own little space down there to like start your start your journey as a mother. Yeah.
Right. Give y'all a little bit more privacy and quiet. Although, like in the mornings, if the kids get up before me, I'm not there to say, hey, keep it down. Stop being so loud, kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
thing. So I don't know, but the baby's gonna have you up early anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
Oh, so
Awesome.
what I really wanted to talk about today
Yeah.
was kind of navigating menopause, perimenopause through the holidays. And some of you might be thinking, okay, well, like, what's the big deal,
Mhm.
right? But for those of us who are experiencing it, it is kind of even for me. I just turned 40 and I'm pretty sure I've been in this a couple years at least.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, last holiday season was a lot. And I think that for me emotionally, had I kind of been more aware of certain things and like now I'm on the estrogen patch and things like that. I'm it's just a lot of things happen over the holidays. There are a lot of firsts and not fun first. And, trying to being in perimenopause plus having a kind of a traumatic situation and death, and I'm trying to lose weight, and it's so much harder no matter how I eat and exercise. And it's just a compound of all these things. And so you're going through the holidays, and for those of you who have get-togethers and outings and traditions and all these things, like we still got to power through all that stuff. And, you know, we still, in our minds, we still have to do it with grace and without quote unquote affecting other people and, whatever. We don't want to bring the situations down because we don't feel well and we're going through so much. And I think that it's really important to talk about ways to kind of navigate through that and more than just kind of get through, like still navigate through things and still be able to enjoy them and live them and not be kind of bogged down by all the things that we're going through while we're also trying to go through life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You've hit on a lot of really important things there. I know people sometimes think like, oh, it's just the holidays, it's fine, like just keep going, right?
Yeah,
And in this midlife time, it is not. There are so many transitions that are happening. So I'm going to start with what's happening physically, right? So we're in perimenopause, we're in menopause, we're in postmenopause even. Wherever you are, your body is significantly different, and all of the systems within it and how they communicate to each other are changing, have changed, right?
yeah,
And that is a very energy expensive process for your body. So when I say energy expensive, I mean if you think of yourself as a battery, when you haven't, when you have your cell phone and you've had it for like a long time and you know that it's kind of like coming to the end because the battery starts to drain faster.
yeah,
It's kind of like that analogy. Not that I'm
yeah,
saying we're on our way out the door, but but if you think about it that way, it just takes more energy
it
for
does.
all of the processes in our body to happen because they are changing the way they happen.
Yes,
Because when we are estrogen, progesterone, testosterone in particular deficient, those hormones are communicators. They go from the brain and they cascade throughout the body and they tell the body all of the things that it needs to do. So when we are depleted or deficient in those hormones, all of those communications have to happen in a different way. And all of those systems have less protection than they used to. So when people talk about fatigue and energy loss and brain fog and word recall and all of those things, it's because our internal communication systems aren't working and our body has to work so much harder.
yeah,
So that is what's happening at the physical level. And then we layer all of the expectation and the additional things that happen. And uh, not to okay, I'm going to generalize actually. Generally speaking, like I know in my house, if I were not here, the holiday would not happen.
yeah,
Life would just go on. Like it would be like, "Oh, it's
yeah,
December 25th. Okay." Right? Like
yeah. Nothing's
the
decorated, nothing's prepared, no plans are made.
No, no,
Like,
my husband could care less.
yeah, yeah,
He just doesn't. It's not like it doesn't make him a bad person. It doesn't make him a bad
right,
partner. He just
right.
doesn't care. Like not
Yeah,
a single holiday would happen in this house if I didn't exist.
yes,
And
yeah,
so when we think about all of those things that we add in, so we're still going through this physical transformation. We still are working. We still are going through all of the other things that are happening in our lives. Maybe we're caring for elderly family members. We are supporting kiddos who are going through major transformation themselves. We are experiencing grief And then we are decorating the house and we are baking cookies and we are putting a smile on our face and we are welcoming the world into our home and making everything beautiful and perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a huge energy expansion. And so a couple of years ago, I issued a challenge. Like often there will be December challenges
Yeah.
around eating, like all of that stuff. That's one
Right.
this challenge was not that at all. It was, how can you take at least 15 minutes for yourself and do something that you love?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I do love the holiday season.
Same.
I yeah, I love it. And often I get to the other side of it and think I don't even know what happened, right? Like I was so busy doing all the things that I wasn't able to experience it.
Right. Right. Like it's gone and
Yeah.
now I didn't really enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so for each day in December, I decided I was going to take at least 15 minutes at at minimum to do something that I
Right.
really enjoyed about the season. Whether it was like, if it's a day that's, I live in Canada, so it's often snowy during that season. So if it was just like sitting in a chair and having a cup of tea and watching the snowfall, it's a moment of presence. It gives my nervous system a chance to settle, and it's replenishing this energy that I am pouring out into the world. Right. So it can be something that is very simple. It can be my guilty pleasure of curling up in my bed at the end of the day and watching a Hallmark Christmas movie. But it does the trick, right? Like just these little moments that we give to ourselves because it is necessary.
Right.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would say, sorry, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I used to like beat myself up when I did things like that. Like if I'm sitting here watching TV, I'm not being productive. Well, I've been watching TV for like 30 minutes and it's like 8 o'clock at night and I've been busy all day long. But I'm sitting here watching TV and I'm not being productive. And I like I guess too because having 5 kids, I've been a parent for most of my life. And once the kids start getting older and you have to do less for them, you're kind of like, which is kind of where I'm at right now too.
Hmm.
I'm like,
Yeah, me too.
I really only have two that I still have to take care of. And one is 16 and is very independent. So I only have one now that I have to, like, the other day I was like, I actually was having a conversation with my husband about cooking dinner. And I was like, I was looking, because during the summer I don't cook a ton, you know, people are out doing different things and whatever. So when school started back, I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to like making dinner at least Monday through Friday again. And it's really just been me and my 10-year-old eating because my husband works so much. And I'm just kind of like, oh, like I don't really have to cook a lot anymore. And if I do, it can last a few days. Like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like that kind of slow down too, where I'm like, I'm not used to, like, I sit here and watch a show for an hour. I'm not used to like doing that because I'm
Mm.
just usually busy. So it's okay. Like it's okay. I'm currently trying to catch up on Dexter because I just started watching it a couple months ago and I keep hearing about it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this now. So now I'm like, it's okay that I sat here and watched the episode of Dexter. Like my
It's
house
more,
is good, everyone's safe, healthy, doing what they're supposed to. Like it's okay,
yeah, it's more than okay, right? Like it is something that you deserve. I can relate in that in September of last year, both of my boys started university at the same time. And so we became instant empty nesters.
Yeah.
And um, now the fall of last year was quite chaotic for me. We sold all our properties, we moved, my dad died, they both started. So it was like chaos
Right, right.
until sort of February of this year. And I remember this moment of like just sitting and the house was quiet and there was nobody needed me for anything and there was nothing pressing that had to be done. And in that moment, that felt stressful because my body didn't know what to do with it.
Right,
Right.
right.
So when we have been living a life of cortisol overdrive, when you find yourself suddenly in this space of like, oh, oh, I have time. Your body,
Yeah,
your brain has to rewire itself again and start to, I sort of frame it as withdraw from the cortisol addiction, right? Because
yeah,
yeah, because your brain and cortisol is an important hormone. Like we need cortisol. It's the thing that gets us up and out of bed in the day. It
yeah,
gets us up and out of bed in the morning. It keeps us going. But the problem becomes when we are overstimulated by it, which is what
yes,
happens when we are on this wheel of non-stop pressing things that have to get done,
yeah, yeah,
which is another reason actually why it's more than just okay to like sit and and just do something that you enjoy, watch a television show, read a book, listen to a podcast, like whatever it is, because the longer your body goes on this cortisol overdrive, the harder it is when it's not there. And so when we build in these moments of like, okay, nervous system, we're going to chill here for a little bit. It does help when we get to the other end of this mountain we've been climbing.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I want to kind of point out to the listeners is that everyone's heaviness looks different, right? Like you and I have different amount of kids, we have kids different ages, we have different workloads, different, just everything. But our season can still be difficult, traumatic, stressful, and it's still just as important. Even if you're someone, I know someone who their mom passed away in the last few days. Um, and that's their load right now. And even if everything around them is everything else is perfect, everything is going swimmingly, that one thing, that's your load, and it's just as important as someone who's has multiple things going on. So, or
Absolutely.
if you have multiple things going on, it's just as important as one who just has quote unquote the one. Like it's important to acknowledge that your load that you carry is important, and it is important to take care of yourself and to pay attention to your needs, and pay attention to how can I not just get through this, but how can I successfully navigate this? Because that's something that I've
Yes.
kind of learned, for me, it's been with trauma, but it can apply to other areas of your life, but learning to navigate through things and not just get through them or get over it or, whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This comparison game that we play with ourselves is
Yeah.
not helpful for anyone, right? Like
Yes.
absolutely. Every person is carrying more often than not more than they actually are able of carrying. And
Yes.
so I think if we can put ourselves in a place of support rather than this place of comparison and judgment, it really should. And more often than not, we're judging ourselves, right? We're judging
Absolutely. Yeah.
ourselves against someone else's experience. And that, I mean, we've been conditioned to do it. And the more we can let go of that, the better.
Yeah.
Which brings me to one of the strategies that I think actually is really important to help, not like you said, get through, but also to enjoy the
Yeah.
season. Because we also are worthy of enjoying whatever it is that we're doing.
Yes. Even if
And
it's nothing, even if you
even
don't travel or
especially if
even if
it's
you don't
nothing.
celebrate certain holidays.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so one of the things that I think is really important is communication. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we're going to start with communication with ourselves. So really think about Where, like, actually feel into your body and ask yourself, what am I actually capable of in this time? And what do I need to let go? Like, what are things that I continue to put on myself because I feel like it's an expectation, but legitimately nobody else cares,
It's
right?
so funny that you say that. There last year, so it was my first time hosting at my home, and I'm just like running around trying to do all these things, and my husband is like, you don't have to, you didn't have to spend $200 on food. Like we had so much food left over, and he's like, like you can also let me help. Like it's okay. But
Yeah.
like you don't have to do so much. And certain things I did because I thought people would have expectations and they were like blown away by the thing I put together. And I was like, oh, but they were like, you like this was more than we expected, So yeah, like you don't have to exceed the expectations that you think other people have on you when they really don't. It's us that have them on ourselves.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And so when we start that conversation with ourselves around what can I, like, what am I actually capable of, and what can I let go because it doesn't matter anymore? Like, nobody has those expectations. And then communicate that to the people that it matters to, right? So
Yeah.
start with your partner, right? This is how I'm feeling in this season. This is what I can do, and this is what I can't do anymore. And more often than not, your partner will be like, "Yeah, good. I'm glad we're having this conversation because I watch you tear yourself apart every year. And then we end up like snapping at each other because I'm worried about you and you are like in a completely red brain state." And by
Yeah.
that, I mean, right, like prefrontal cortex shuts down because we are in fight, flight, freeze mode from all of this like go cortisol that's happening.
Yes.
So that's where, that's why family conflicts often happen more often during these holiday seasons because everybody is feeling all of this additional pressure. You're watching someone like go out of their way to do all of these things when really all anybody wants is to just be together,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
there are situations where that is not the case, and there are,
Right.
right? That exists too. And for the most part, when you think back on all of your holiday memories, what do you remember most, right?
Yeah.
I remember, so you and I have both lost our mothers. I lost my mom when I was 30.
Mine was my father.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So we've lost these people. And the thing I remember most is just being with her in the kitchen, baking together, doing the dishes. It's like, yeah, of course I remember what she created because she was exceptional at it. It sticks out in my mind. I remember those
Right.
things.
Right.
But what lives in my heart is the time that we spent together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, I think it would be my father's mother, my Nana, because as a little kid, it was kind of not that like being with my family here wasn't especially was, but I didn't see my father's family as much. And so when I would go down there and like I literally remember the last holiday that she was alive for. And I don't have great memory. So the fact that that sticks out to me is special. But I remember that. And even in that instance, like she wasn't able to cook and things like that, but she was still there. And I think that I don't know. I think that's the most important part of that memory was
Yeah.
the fact that she was still there.
her
And
presence her
yeah,
presence was enough.
Yes. Yes.
right? Your presence is enough.
I don't even remember what she did that day.
Yeah.
You know, just she was there and that was my last Christmas with her, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, that gets back to this is what's most important. And for those of you who are listening who are like, but I have little kids and they have all these expectations and I have to do the elf on the shelf and the blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. One,
You don't.
you do
Right.
not. You
Right.
do not. And two, have the conversations with your children.
Yeah.
Because if they see you setting energetic boundaries and being honest about, like, so I'm a human and I'm really, really tired, and these are the things that we're gonna do, and you tell me one thing that really matters to you. Like,
Yeah.
right? Bring them into the conversation. Have them be part of it, but say like, I can't do everything. But what's one or two things that really matter to you, we'll make sure that those things happen. Maybe you can help me and be part of it.
Yes. That's one thing I was going to point out too is like my 10-year-old loves to help.
Yeah.
And so he's actually really helpful like in these times where I'm stressed out because I have a lot to do. He will literally be like, "Mom, what do you need done?"
Yeah.
You know, like he's like, I can see you're getting a little stressed. What do you need done? And sometimes he'll be like, Mom, just you can just sit down, let me know what you need to do, and I'll, and they really do. Like the kids, like they feed off the stress, and they can tell your triggers and everything. You know, let them be supportive and let them help. And, I've caught myself before, like I'll just do it. And then I think back and I'm like, wait a minute, let him help because he's trying to help. I have older kids who aren't trying to help. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe in that moment. So like, and he's going to get older, he's going to be busy and blah, blah, blah. And, like, so let him help. Sometimes, depending on their ages, don't give them messy things to do because then you clean
Yeah.
up. But things that they can help. They can grab this for you. That they can read something off to you, or things that they can do that are helpful, and let them because just it really it all of it sticks. All of
Yes.
the stressful. I've seen movies where it's like, oh no, I don't go home for holidays. I was watching the show The Bear,
Yeah.
and his mom like loses her shit around the holidays, and he's
Yeah.
like,
Drives a car right in the house.
yeah, like I don't want to do this, but
And
it's my
haven't we all been there at some point?
yeah. I might have wanted to a time or two,
Yeah.
but like and as adults, they remember things like this too, and then we know that what we do in front of kids, they carry that. Some of that sprinkles into their adulthood, and it's so yeah, I just let them help and just remember they're watching, and this is coming from an imperfect
Mhm.
person, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can tell you where my breaking point was, or it was Easter, and I was so I'm an only child. I have hosted every holiday for my family since my mom died in 2007. Every single one.
Really?
Yeah. And so it was Easter. This was maybe 3 years ago, and there's a lot of context that I won't just imagine, like all the messy family
Yeah.
context things that can happen. And I was standing in the kitchen looking out, and I was like, I would rather be in my bedroom right now. Like, I would give anything to just go up and leave this and just be in my bedroom. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And after all the people left, my youngest son was like, well, that was awful. And I
Oh,
said, yeah, you're right. It was. And so we're never going to do that again. And it wasn't
yeah.
like abjectly awful. Like people weren't being mean to each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It didn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was that. And so we kind of decided like, yeah, we're never going to do that again because it didn't feel good for us.
Yeah.
I think the guests who were there, they all said they had a good time and they enjoyed the food, but we didn't enjoy ourselves.
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
so it was at that point when we started making changes around actually thinking about what do we want as a family so we can avoid this of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I would rather be anywhere. In my case, I'd rather be anywhere but my own home right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year was the first year that we didn't get together. My mom's family didn't get together. My mom all passed the end of September, and we had the funeral very beginning of October. We had the family, the
Yeah.
fight at the funeral, and blah blah blah. And
Mhm.
so Christmas was kind of like there's a certain family member that is not allowed around my family, and most of the family is okay with that. But there are certain people who are like, well, if they can't come, this person can't come, and I'm not coming, or this person won't come, and I'm not coming. And I'm like, cool, then none of y'all come.
Mhm.
So we didn't get together, and it was the first time. And then my other side of my family also, like different people had to work, and like all the on the time we usually get together, and it just wasn't. We didn't get together there, so I was like so devastated because like traditions just changed. Like, and I get very emotional about change.
Mhm.
Death and change are two things that's like I have hard time handling them in these last couple of years. I wasn't always like that.
Yep.
Or at least I didn't always verbalize it, I guess, so to say. But it was hard, and then but then I thought about it, and my husband was like, well, sometimes people are just busy. Like, everyone isn't mad at you, everyone isn't changing everything because of you. And I was like, well, I didn't really like take it like that, but it's like no one wants to see me, like kind of thing. It's
Mhm.
really not about me, and so I think that had there been like this forced get together, it probably wouldn't have been that happy because we were at a certain place with this family, and everybody would have felt very like rushed, and like kind of inconvenienced with having to like just make everybody happy, kind of thing. And so I think sometimes I've had to learn in different situations that sometimes when things don't work out, that is maybe for the best. And sometimes when we don't force ourselves to have these traditions and these get-togethers and not allow ourselves to process change, it really has more of a negative effect than if we just kind of, try to take a minute to look at the bigger picture and maybe try to understand and readjust, because I ended up readjusting and I had a great get together at my house, so
Yeah. I think you hit on something that's really important in that this, yeah, while like again, all these changes are happening in our body and in our life context. And so
yeah.
it is a time where traditions start to change. I have
Yeah.
this on my mind a lot because my kids are 20 and almost 19.
Mm,
And so, I'm thinking maybe, 5, 6 years from out, they likely will have partners. And what's that going to look like for us?
yeah.
Right? Like it could be a time where that is definitely shifting and changing. And so being
Yeah.
aware of the underlying grief that might be there that you're not even really acknowledging because you're realizing this holiday experience that I have crafted for my family in this way for, in my case, 20 years,
Yeah.
it's not going to look like this for that much longer,
Right. Right. That's
right?
such a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that it is okay, right? It might not feel like it for us.
Right.
And being honest with ourselves that there is grief, there is some sadness, there is pain. We do miss the people who aren't at our table anymore. Um,
Yeah.
all all of that also is the current that's floating underneath. And actually, as I'm saying these words, I'm thinking we all are. So, sorry, I will speak for
You're good.
myself. I am chasing the Christmas feeling I had from when I was a kid, right? Like,
Yeah, but I think a lot of us do.
it's not possible for it to be the same.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
can't be
Yeah.
because there aren't the same people. It's not the same time. The like all of it is different.
Yeah.
And as I'm saying this, I myself am realizing in this moment, I have to make peace with that. And that instead of, here we go, instead of chasing that moment, welcoming the moments that come now for all of the experiences, for all of the holidays that came before, for what exists now, and just let that be. And like you said, her presence was enough. Let that
Yeah.
presence be enough. And maybe releasing the chase of that like childlike magic is what will let the new magic come in.
That's such a profound like piece of advice. So but like I'm getting emotional. That is it's so true though. But
Yeah.
even for those of you who don't have kids, you know, you still had a childhood. You still,
Yeah.
just taking the motherhood portion out of it, still so much applies to women because we all
Hmm.
have those experiences. And we all are going through changes. And gosh, that's
Hmm.
it's such a profound like viewpoint
Yeah.
because even at 40, like I am still kind of chasing that, but specifically having kids, like I'm chasing it for myself, but then I'm chasing it for my kids too, because like they're older and everything is, and then like when the matriarch of the family passes, then there's this shift. And so now it goes to yourself, or from in my case, it goes to my mom. And so it's, you know, her and her daughter and her grandkids. And it's so different because before it was my grandma's two kids, their kids, and so and now, and that's difficult to get used to as well. And sometimes, like being so close with that side of the family, I'm just used to always doing things. And over the past year or so, and I'm not the only one who feels, all three of the granddaughters feel this way. Like it's just changed so much and it is difficult. And we want to kind of get that back, but it's not going to come back in the same way, but it is going to come back in our new family formation.
Yeah.
So with my mom, her daughter, her grandkids, and now her great grandchild, now we do that with her, you know, and then we incorporate the rest of the family in different components. It might not be, so it's just once we lose that kind of head of the family, everything shifts a little bit and it can be very difficult. And for me, it's only been a year at this point, and it's still difficult.
Hmm.
And it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be however long it actually takes you to feel comfortable in your new normal. That is perfectly normal and it's perfectly fine, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And giving yourself the grace to recognize that and to accept it of, yeah, it might not be 1 year, it might not be two, it might be many, right? Like these markers in time, which is what, holidays and specific dates are,
Yeah,
they hold the weight of all of the everything that came before it and the expectation of everything that will come after.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
Yeah, so it makes them, tricky spaces to be in. And every human that you're interacting with is also in this space of like everything that came before and their expectation of everything that will come forward. And so all of these things come together and it becomes this really like, it can be a really tricky mix of how do
Yeah.
we make space for every person's humanity who's having this experience. And so I think it really is important to go back to that. Like what really matters to you?
Yeah.
Pick, like I said,
Yeah.
have that conversation with your family, have that conversation with your kids, and don't leave yourself out of the conversation. What
Yeah.
are one or two things that really matter to you that need to be part of this for your own joy, for your own peace, for your own grief, even sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you point out that other people have their own things, and I think that's really important too because it was something that was important to me to realize after the fact last year. Like, everybody has stuff going on. It's not just you, and that's just us in general as people. Sometimes we forget that the people that are around us that we're trying to navigate the situation with also are going through their own parts of it, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I hosted Thanksgiving for my dad and his siblings and all their kids last year because it was his last Thanksgiving. And so I had, I think I had 24 people for
Mm,
dinner. And I was so in the business of everything that was happening for his end of life that
hmm.
I was not really present to my emotion. Also, my
Yeah.
dad and I had a complicated relationship. So there are lots of factors involved, but
Yeah.
he decided he needed to leave. My dad had Parkinson's, and so a time came where he just was like, I gotta go. And so I said, okay, no problem. So I went upstairs to get one of my boys to drive him home. While I'm organizing that, I come back down the stairs and everyone in the house is sobbing. They're all in tears. And I'm like, what did I miss? And they're like,
Right. Like I just went
oh,
upstairs.
oh, right. They are all saying goodbye to him for the last time. They all know
Yeah.
that this is it.
Yeah.
And again, I was such in like a numb place. I'm like, well, okay. Hey, everybody's crying. Say your goodbyes, Dad, like at the door. But
Yeah.
it was such a visceral reminder of
Mhm.
this, of like everybody in this space is having an experience that we may know about or we may not. I certainly did not anticipate coming down the stairs to a house full of sobbing people.
Right. Right.
But that was what their experience of this was. And it's okay, right? It's okay for
Right.
everyone
Yeah.
to have these varying and different reactions and responses to what's happening and to just make space for that to happen, for just make space for it to happen. Let it be.
Right. 100%. I think those of us who have kids can relate it largely to going through things in your life and your children also going through things, especially like teenage years, puberty, we're going through menopause or perimenopause and they're going through pure puberty and we're all just over here not thinking about the fact that everybody's emotional and,
Yeah.
like conversations can be had to like, and I've had my teenager tell me before, Mom, like, I'm just overwhelmed. And I'm like, I am too. I'm sorry. Let's apologize and, be overwhelmed together, but in a way that we're being nice to each other as well.
Yeah, it's where the pre-work can be really helpful, right? So
Yeah.
if we have those conversations before, or even like I have a little signal with my son where it's like if we are getting if we're getting really heightened, like we
I
have
love
a
it.
we have a like, okay, let's put a pin in this and we will come back to it when
Yeah.
both of us are more regulated.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But putting some of those like relief valve strategies in place
Yeah.
so that because we can anticipate. right? We can anticipate how we might feel, we can anticipate where the challenges might be. And if we talk about it in advance
Yeah.
and give every person the language necessary to talk about it in a way that's like respectful and calm,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really helps get through those times that are sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and just to point out before we wrap up here, you know, what makes this different being in menopause or perimenopause, what makes it different than anyone else who's going through just the regular emotions? It's not that it makes it worse or makes it easier or anything like that, but we have, you're going through the certain symptoms. It's freezing outside. You just don't want to rip your clothes off because you're hot.
Hmm.
Your emotions are heightened. You feel uncomfortable, you feel bloated, you feel, or even like with myself, well, it's the holidays. I've really been working hard to lose weight and I'm not, and I wanted to look a certain way, all the things. It's just maybe a little bit, it takes a little bit more preparation,
Hmm.
because we kind of, we know how we feel on a day-to-day basis. And if I'm not sleeping during the holidays, and if I'm feeling crappy during the holidays, I'm on fire during the holidays, I'm probably going to have a more difficult time. And so, that's why we wanted to have this conversation to provide you a little bit of assistance in that, and also to help you understand that, like, hey, this is important, it deserves attention, and these are the ways that we can maybe help you provide yourself that a little bit of relief, a little bit of preparation, a little bit of, hey, here's what I can do to kind of ease this up a little bit. And like you said, sometimes, like you said in the beginning, sometimes it's do nothing. Um, I think last year I wrote maybe I think it was in December of last year of 2024 that I wrote my December blog, and in there I said something like do nothing, thin out your activities. If you need to thin out some activities, you don't have to do everything, and it is okay. And this was just navigating holidays in general, but it applies here too. If you haven't slept well, if you are tired, you're exhausted, you're fatigued, thin out some activities because you don't have to do everything. We in speaking on expectations, our expectations for one event might be too high, but our expectations to attend and host and function through multiple things, it is sometimes also too high. And that's okay. It's okay to tell people, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling well. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's all really important advice and thoughts and just yeah, giving yourself and communicating about it. That's the other
Yeah.
piece. Like
Yeah.
because the more you can communicate about it, the less you leave people wondering,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Because that often is where the tension comes from and then where the challenge in relationship comes from. So know that you are worthy, period. You're not worthy because you make a perfect tree. You're not worthy because,
Yeah.
you host 8 days of Hanukkah beautifully. You're not worthy because you are worthy,
Just worthy. Yeah.
period.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so let yourself feel that. And this is advice that I give to myself as well, and have to do it all the time,
Yeah.
that you are worthy and
Yeah.
you get to enjoy and you get to think about the things that you love and want as well. And when you do that, it's actually a really beautiful act of leadership to let everybody else around you know that they can do it too.
Yeah. 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 My grandma's birthday is in August, or was in August, and then she passed September, funeral was October. First holidays without her were last holiday season. My mom in August of this year made a post, and she was like, mom's birthday is coming up, and all these things. And, I just asking for prayers for my family in advance and stuff like that. And I have already let my family know as well. Hey, these things are coming up. And I did
Yeah.
I let him know last year, and I still had a point in December where I just lost my shit. And I
Yeah.
was like, hey guys, I'm sorry that I
Yeah.
had that blow up. And, because it happened, and a couple of them were like, hey, I'm gonna go stay with my friend tonight because you're tripping a little bit. And I was like, damn. But that's honest and I respect it. Like you didn't go at me, I respect it. And I've already let them know for this year, hey, just give me a
Yeah.
little bit more patience. I don't think I'm gonna blow up this year,
But I
but
might.
but I might, I'm sorry in advance and I appreciate your patience.
Yeah. Yeah. And you brought up another important thing in that, we've been talking about all the pre-work that you can do to try to make it as best as possible, but we also are humans and things are
Yeah.
going to happen in the moment.
Yes.
And so also relieving yourself of the pressure of feeling like you have to do this perfectly. Like, show
Yeah.
me the human who has lived this very strange experiment we're in perfectly, right? Like that, it
Right.
just doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, release yourself of that. And if something does happen, like if you do, oh God, I can't tell you the number of times I've had like an explosion in the kitchen because I was trying to do too much. And
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
my energy eventually it snaps and I have a breakdown. And it's okay to go back and repair also.
Yes, it's imperative to
Yes.
realistically. Yeah.
Yeah. And say, like, be honest and say, what you saw was this.
Yeah.
I did too much. I pushed myself too far. This was my breaking point. You asked me where your sock was. It really wasn't a big deal. It wasn't about the sock.
100%.
It was,
100%.
yeah, like that was just the match that lit the fuse, right? That was already hot.
Yes.
And just say, like sometimes these things happen. We have these reactions to a missing sock.
Mm-hmm.
And we can have this conversation after, and it's okay to say, I'm sorry, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to happen in that moment. This is why it happened. And we're gonna move forward, right? Like having those moments of repair are also fine. And I think in some ways, it's important for our kids in particular to see us in the light of
Yes.
being a human,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and it teaches them, like we talked briefly about earlier about the things that kind of sprinkle into their own traditions and their own parenting and the, things or just being adult, period. And that's one of those things that when we come back and we apologize and we explain
Mhm.
what happened, how I was feeling, and just put it all out there so they understand the situation, apologize, and let them know like, hey, that's not good or appropriate behavior, and this is why that happened. It's super important. I've learned that so much as a parent, like I don't know, in
Mhm.
the past like 10 years that's really important because they are developing as people and they are becoming adults and they're gonna have these situations as well, and they need to understand why it happened, how I can fix it, how I can, prevent it and things like that and understand that they're human too. And when they mess up, it is important to apologize and communicate.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're modeling for them the language and the how of how to do that. And that is one of the
Yeah,
most important things we can do as parents is how to repair when we have a moment.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really great point. Well, that is about it for today, but we could just keep talking about this for like the rest of the afternoon. It's
Oh, it's
such a
unending.
great
Yeah.
conversation. But let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah. So you can find me. Instagram is a great place to go because all of my information is there. So I am at lboate, LBOATE. My website is liberatedmenopause.ca, and you can find my podcast, Transforming 45, on your favorite podcast listening platform or on YouTube.
Perfect. All right. Well, as always, I really, really enjoyed having you here. I'm looking forward to seeing you again, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Reah.
Bye. Check us out on YouTube at Reah Higgs, ReahHagues. You can also keep up with us on Instagram at Just the Who Podcast.